Today I will be ranking every single coaster at Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. So let's get right into this video. Coming in at number 10 is Whistlepunk Chaser. This is a Zamperla Gravity Coaster, which is their kiddie coaster model. This is the smallest roller coaster in the park. There's some light theming. You get some nice views of Thunderhead, and it's not a bad ride, but it's just a kid's coaster, so I can't really place it that high. Coming in at number 9 is Blazing Fury, the park's indoor roller coaster. So this is more of a dark ride than a roller coaster, so it barely actually counts as a roller coaster. It only has like 3 drops on the ride. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below, but this ride isn't really much of a coaster. It's more of a dark ride. But this ride has an amazing story, some amazing set pieces, and this ride's really well done. It's a great ride to cool off from the summer heat. So I would recommend this ride for the families, but maybe not for the thrill seekers, because it's not really a ride that's meant for the thrill seekers. Coming in at number 8 is Mystery Mine. This is the park's Gerstlauer Eurofighter. So this ride is part indoors, part outdoors. The good parts of this ride are mainly in the indoor sections. At the beginning of the ride, at the middle of the ride. Like, this ride is kind of just okay. Like, it's not really my favorite thrill coaster in the park. It's probably my least favorite of the major thrilling roller coasters at Dollywood, but it's still solid, even though it's not my favorite coaster in the park. So this ride has 2 vertical lifts, both are indoors, and the ride is super solid. The 2 drops off the vertical lift hills are nice and whippy because they're beyond vertical, so they are really nice drops. But the ride is really rough, though. I have a problem with this ride. It is just unbearably rough. Like, some of the directional changes on this ride are really uncomfortable. Like the turns, the inversions. Like, this ride's not the most comfortable, but if you know how to ride it, you should be in for a good time. Coming in at number 7 is Fire Chaser Express, the park's Gerstlauer family coaster. So this ride is pretty good for a family coaster. I feel like most family coasters are just kind of boring. Like, they don't really do too much, or they're pretty rough, which are not my favorite types of coasters when they're super rough or don't really do anything. But this ride is the opposite of that. It's got some good family thrill, but it's not too extreme. But there's one problem I have with this ride, is that it's not super smooth. Like, it's kind of rough, just like Mystery Mine, which kind of ruins its potential. It would have been nicer if this ride wasn't so rough. But besides that, it's got a great backwards launch. It's got some mild airtime, but it's not really something you're going to notice unless you're really paying attention, that you might actually notice the tiny pops of airtime on this ride. But this ride is just solid. It's a good coaster, but I would not be trying to go out of my way to ride it again, but I'll make sure to ride it hopefully sometime soon, because this ride is super solid, but it's not really my favorite coaster, but it's still a good one. Coming in at number 6 is Dragon Flyer, the park's Vekoma suspended family coaster. So if you didn't like the old gen Vekoma suspended family coasters or Vekoma Hanging Main, you should give this a shot. It has lap bars, it's 1,000 times smoother than the older ones, and it has lap bars, so it is a solid ride. So this ride is pretty good. Coming in at number 5 is Wild Eagle, the park's B&M wing coaster. So this is my favorite B&M wing coaster. A little controversial. A lot of enthusiasts think this is the worst B&M wing coaster, but it's really not. It's got a better layout and better setting than Gatekeeper or Thunderbird or any of the other wing coasters. It's got a better setting. So this ride is really good. For wing coasters, of course. So this ride does have a straight drop, but it is unique. It stands out from some of the other wing coasters. So this is a solid ride. It's got some good inversions. It is a great ride. Coming in at number 4 is Tennessee Tornado, the park's Aero Looper. This is my favorite coaster by Aerodynamics over Magnum XL200 and X2. So this ride is pretty solid for an aero coaster. So this ride has some smooth inversions. The inversions aren't too tight and uncomfortable like other aero loopers, but it isn't as intense as some of the other aero loopers. But the benefit is it is smoother and it's computer designed, and that makes it a whole lot more smoother and pleasant of a ride experience. So it's better than your typical aero looper. Coming in at number 3 is Big Bear Mountain. This is an awesome family launch coaster by Vekoma. So this ride is pretty good. It is a modern version of Fire Chaser Express, just without the backwards section. So this ride has some okay scenery. The waterfall is the only actually nice scenic part of the ride. The rest of the ride is just a field, which is just kind of boring. There's no trees or anything, so it's not really crazy looking in terms of presentation, but it's still a fun ride, personally. It's still a good ride without the trees, but it would have been nice to have some trees, being named Big Bear Mountain. But the Spaghetti Bowl section's nice. It's nice and intense, but it's not too intense. So this is a solid family coaster. Coming in at number 2 is Thunderhead. This is the park's GCI wooden roller coaster. So this is your typical GCI twister. It's got some good pacing. It's got great airtime. It's well paced. It's got a good wooden roller coaster feel, but it's gotten smoother, so it's definitely improved a lot since the retracking of this ride. So it is a great wooden roller coaster. You got great airtime, great pacing. It's just an overall solid wooden roller coaster. In at number 1 is Lightning Rod. So this is the park's RMC hybrid. So this ride used to have a launch. Now it is replaced with a chain lift. This ride is still great, in my opinion, with the chain lift, but I never rode it with the launch, so I can't really say. So this is someone with a fresh opinion on Lightning Rod that hasn't ridden it with the launch. So this is my number 1 coaster overall, and my favorite RMC, and my favorite coaster at Dollywood. So this ride has a great first drop. It is fantastic. You get some great ejector airtime. You got an awesome wave turn. My favorite wave turn on RMC, and my favorite wave turn. And it's got some great airtime. And then the ride starts to pick up intensity with this outer bank, which is really good. You get some really good ejector airtime. So this ride is great. It's pretty good. So please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time.
Welcome back, everybody. How was your